I just want to let everybody know there's an opportunity when failure happens, when a moment that you are not as successful as you wanted to invest that opportunity to reap a reward.
Welcome to the Howie and Beastmode podcast, where we discuss all things business, including growth, strategy, and execution, as well as personal and professional development. Let's join Howie and Beastmode in conversation.
Adopt new processes is that people don't know where you're coming from, and people already have a workload to deal with without your brilliant idea coming in, and stuff like that. So there's just a lot, right? You have an idea as an entrepreneur. I have an idea as a business manager. And the thing is, you can do a lot of that yourself. And both of us in our personalities try to do a lot of it ourselves, actually. And that's good, right? It's good if we take the bulk of it. But then there are some aspects of help that we're going to have to get from other people, other departments, and that kind of thing. And that's where the friction can happen. So I think it'd be really good. I think it'd be really good to talk to people about, what we've encountered in that way. And, what we've to sort of give them a warning. But then also maybe some ideas of how we've eventually made it through those challenges.
Yeah. Real quick, if you have friction and you're not going to other team members, it's just you, there's a bigger problem. That just cracked me up when you said that that's where the friction can come in.
Surprisingly, yeah.
But if it's just you and there's friction, then there's a bigger issue. But
there is a bigger issue, and that issue is funny, because you wouldn't think there would be much friction when you're able to, let's say, work on a business thing yourself. The friction that you generally get before you reach out to other people or other business partners or whatever is generally more the internal friction of the down or how do I prioritize or lack of resources. And the problem with that friction is you're truly alone, and the idea can die with you. That is
some of that friction. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, how's it?
I was just gonna say some of that friction I know with me is knowing I have to pass something off, but not wanting to. I don't want to have to rely on somebody else. I just got to increase my capacity. Let me do more. But knowing I have to have somebody else come in and do this. I need to go to the next level. And for me to go to the next level, somebody has to come in and pick up the foundation that I laid. And it's irritating sometimes to trust somebody in that area, or it's irritating just to know that they're not going to do it the way that I do it. But is it sufficient that will allow me to go to the next level? Because I don't ever want to be the bottleneck or the hindrance on that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a trailblazer, and a steamroller at the same time. You got to pick one.
Yeah. So true, and it is hard, I think, as, entrepreneurs or as sales managers or as business owners or whatever people's jobs are that might be listening, you're going to deal with that moment when you have to reach out for help. And you're right. We can do it better because it was our idea. We have the passion, we have the vision, maybe we have the experience in that area, which led to the idea in the first place. So sometimes as the founder, you can actually do it better yourself.
Oh yeah.
But getting someone involved is the way, is one way of actually growing and scaling. But it is hard to ask for help. And then it's hard when you ask for help, or if they report to you and you don't really have to ask them, you can tell them to do it.
Yeah.
Then you get into some issues where there's some change management that happens, and there's some getting people who don't maybe see the vision the same way because they don't have the background. You came up with the idea because you have the background, but they don't have all of that. And so you might be asking them to do something they don't really believe in. So there's a lot of problems, actually. When growth actually leads to a lot of heat and friction, to be honest. Yeah.
And some of that for me, as I'm just contemplating, because I'm living it real life, and as I know you are too, but it's one of those things where, so with some of the graphic designers with JL, for me, I cast a wide net because I know I don't want to give you a tight circle and have your, whatever you're trying to put in there, be even tighter. I want a giant net and your work to funnel up to me. And so some of that is just getting people to function on your leadership style, because some graphic designers that we work with, they want a really specific thing. Tell me exactly what to do. I'm going to make exactly that. And for me, it's like, what if your idea is better? I don't want to tell you what to do and your idea is better, because then I just limited myself. So why don't you do something that relays back to me, and I'll tell you yours is better than mine. But I need you to go first. So there's that, but then there's also like work ethic. Your work ethic is going to be different than somebody who's underneath you, who's supporting you. They're not going to work like you, most likely. If you
one
hire
in 100 might, or that's probably too much. One in 30 probably, to be more realistic. It's not 100, 1 in 100, but maybe like 1 in 30 will work as hard as you, if you're lucky. But the problem is you have to find that. We have to recruit and hire that person, and that's difficult. So you're not wrong that the work ethic is going to vary a lot, and I have run into that before in my job. I've been in sales management for 20 years, and I've run into the difference in work ethic, as well as the difference in personality and other factors. So the problem is that we can't accomplish great things only on our own. You and I both would try to do that. My friend Kim told me that I would try. She goes, Brian, you would try to boil the ocean. And what she's saying is like, I'll say yes, and so would you, by the way. I will say yes to the job, to the mission, to the idea, even if I have to build it, even at my own health. In 2017, when I left a certain company, I was turning around a sales territory, and it was at the expense of some health. My doctor was getting concerned at the level I was operating at. So what happens is we've got to figure out how to crack the case of, how do I work with others that may not work as hard as me? They don't have the vision. They don't even maybe know me well enough to know whatever it may be. And so you're facing that in some ways. Some of those aspects. And I'm facing that literally right now. And it's not like people don't have good intentions. It's just that we have to figure out how to navigate that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just about understanding expectations. You keep triggering all these different thoughts in me, and I love it. So there's a thought that I came up with about a year ago, and it's basically just a 4-step process. So it says growth is equal to change. You can't grow unless you change.
Okay.
Change is equal to loss. You can't change something unless you lose something. Okay. Positive or negative. Okay. You can't lose something without it costing you something. And so we're talking about pain. So growth is equal to change. Change is equal to loss. Loss is equal to pain. Thus, growth is equal to pain. And so
it's brilliant.
And so
brilliant.
You can't grow without some pain. And so it's just the way it is. Yeah.
That's great. I am probably going to be using that at work. Is that okay?
Yeah, please do. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those ones that God just downloaded. So
I love those God download moments.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of a God download, so Beastmode and I were talking, the broadcast prep, and we really like to talk about things that we sort of enjoy, or things that are kind of in our wheelhouse. But then we also sometimes talk about current events, and we turn that into a topic. So right now, Beastmode is driving some change and some growth and having growing pains. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Stuff he's doing is like, it's so good that we could bring you to tears on this call. Okay. The stuff that I'm doing at work is just salesy stuff, but it is new, and I'm breaking ground, and I've caused friction.
Yeah.
So it's like, I love people, and I'm not trying to do that, but I have. And some of that, I think, people get used to, hopefully, that's the hope. But we're trying to figure out how to, to bring this home to you guys, because you guys are out there in the real world and doing real work. And so these are two different perspectives of things that really happy. And I forgot what my train of thought, but anyway, that's the background of what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah. And so how do you deal with the change on your side when you're trying to incorporate the change? You know there's value, your team knows your value, whether it's you're supporting or above you, but there's just that general pain that goes in. Sometimes there's pushback, sometimes there's, timeline. Hey, when are you gonna be done? When's the results? How do you deal with it personally? How do you deal with it with your team?
I fail and I make people mad. That's the real truth.
Okay. No,
And
it's not.
I fail at the part. I don't fail with the task necessarily, but I fail with how do I navigate in such a way that people remain happy throughout the entire process.
Well, they're not going to remain happy.
Well,
and
know
that.
They didn't. Well, they're not happy right now. And
well,
they weren't happy at my last company for a season. And most companies I've been through, I have brought on a new program or a new process, and I haven't, usually irritated somebody. I remember when I worked for a security company, the marketing department, I really thought the marketing department was going to cause damage to my job and maybe let me get fired. And it turns out by the end, because I was given enough time, this particular marketing, the VP of marketing, his name is Chris. I'm tempted to share who it is, but I'm not. But he actually sent me a handwritten card, thank you note, and a gift card in there. Can't remember where it was for. That'd be fun to remember that. But I still have a card. It means so much to me. I can't tell you that that marketing department finally realized where I was coming from and that I was trying to help. And I did help them. It's just that for a while, it looked like I was in their kitchen. It looked like I was, by trying to make change happen, it looked like I was saying their stuff sucked. And I didn't mean that. It's just that I had another idea. It's like, hey, what you're doing is awesome. Here's another one. I mean, the thing is, you don't know like what people have had to go with and had to walk through in their lives. So when I have communicated, I have a lot of energy and I have ideas, and I'm a little bit, I tend to be kind of on the persuading side of the personality spectrum. Like I tend to be a persuader, and I tend to be persistent kind of thing, or whatever you want to call that. I don't know what you want to call it. So I'm high energy and persistent. So those are two things that could be taken the wrong way. Now the other side is I tend to be on the encouraging side of personality, but I have found that doesn't help me because those other two things are against me. The fact that I am persistent with the idea, and the fact that I am high energy about it. And so I find that being nice doesn't help me very much, because I've gotten in trouble, and I have gotten in trouble at multiple companies, but over time, they usually come back to me. Like in my last company, funny enough, this is also a marketing person, but I'm not exclusively the one to only make marketing mad. I have made others mad as well. But yeah, this marketing, this younger career person, came to me and he said, you know what, I'm sorry. I took some of the stuff that you were saying as criticism, or as my stuff wasn't good. I now see that you're trying to help. And I apologize for that. He said, it's not on you, it's on me. And so it's like, I find that I eventually have people understand where I'm coming from. I find that I eventually kind of like, I win 90, not 100%, but I win like 90% of them over. And then whatever. And by the way, I'm going to pass it back to you, but I'm just finishing the thought. Sorry that it's a little bit of a long one. But I'll keep pushing with my persistence and my creativity and with my energy, and I'll eventually probably accomplish most of the programs or processes that I'm trying to accomplish. And then over time, the people that were involved will see, oh, it worked. And Brian isn't a jerk, or Howie. My name on here is Howie. Howie isn't a jerk. He was just trying to make a difference. But the problem is, I have a lot to walk through that beast mode to get to that end point. And it's scary. Sure. Yeah. It's scary for me as a change agent, because I don't like it when people are talking about me. Yeah. I don't like it when I'm being taken the wrong way. And I'm shocked when I'm shocked every time. And it's not like it happens very often, to be honest, even because I've been at certain companies 10 years or 4 years and longer periods of time. And I may have had that happen once or twice in 4 years. So it's not like the problem is that I think we all remember the pain,
Mm.
even as much as we remember sort of like the good times. And so I can remember some of those painful times. And so I'm just being transparent that I am not a good advisor on this topic, but I can tell you that you're gonna walk through some pain, and it's gonna hurt, because like you just said, change and growth is actually
Yeah.
equivalent to pain. So sorry for the long story, but this is an area that I have failed at a lot.
Yeah. Whenever you're trying to grow and there's that change and then there's that loss, and that loss is equal to pain, you're not the only one who feels it. Everybody's feeling it. And again, and now what it's saying is Brian's trying to change things, and Howie's trying to put some change in here, and it's awesome. But now whenever I start to feel lost because that this change is not coming out of me, now I'm taking it personal, and you're saying I'm trying to help you. I think this is great. This is a win-win for everybody. But that change and that loss and that pain now comes at me, and it's like you're the one who's trying to change on your own, and that doesn't work. It takes all of us needs to get in there. And what's really kind of difficult for you, which is different than me, is you're in the middle. And so like for me, if I want to change something, it's you guys are coming with me, because this is because of my role. Whereas for you, you're saying, team, I need you to change and come with me and support me. Top, I need you to trust and believe me that this is where we're going. And you're having to pull up one and support another at the same time. And I just commend you, man. It's a totally different responsibility than what I deal with. And again, you have the giftings and the abilities to do that. And sometimes it just requires that thick skin, and just that. I mean, I know that you have it. We've talked about it.
That's
that gift
really
of
helpful.
foresight that
That's
I'm not going to look at today. I'm looking
Okay.
past where you guys are at. I know you can't
Okay.
see it, but
Okay.
we're going this way. And
That's a
trust me,
super-
believe me. And you're
That
going to come
ministers
back
to me a
around.
lot.
And what's great is whenever that person comes back around and says, Howie, thank you. Thank you for all that you did. I didn't believe you at the time, whatever. You're not a jerk about it and rub their nose in it.
No, I love
See,
them.
I told you.
I loved them the whole time.
Yeah, you're just.
They didn't know it.
Man, you don't have to say it, but I'm glad you did. Let's go to the next one. That's who you are. And that's why I believe that God's put you in the role that you're in, because you have the ability to do both, where I don't.
I do. So, I'm going to fight for them, and I'm going to fight for the change. And and we're going to make it happen.
That's it.
And we're going to overcome, and people will eventually find that, man, I cared about him a lot more than I said.
Yeah. And when the change happens and the 90% of what you said comes to pass, you're not the guy who's also not going to sit here and say, you see that, guys? You see that? If it wasn't for me, none of this would happen. You just said, hey, great job, team. Great job.
Well, thank him for helping me. Yeah. Because
I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. And I also want to recognize that my style is, is pretty high energy, and it's persistent, even though I try to be very kind and I feel kind when I'm doing it. But my style, I recognize, is a lot, and
change isn't passive.
Right. It's like, but we can either keep doing it the way we've always done it and not grow.
Yeah.
Or we can grow. And like you said, that really helped me when you said, that, it's my job to have the foresight, and it's my job to have a thick skin. And just hearing you say those two things, I'm going to write those in my journal probably tonight. And I'm sorry we're close on time here, but are you going to get kicked out there?
Yeah.
Is this the most real podcast we've ever done?
I don't know.
Have I ever teared up on a podcast?
Probably.
I don't know.
It's my goal every time.
And you're going through a lot of change as well. And you're having to rely on resources in your nonprofit that are sometimes not reliable. And sometimes you can't get enough resources as well. Yeah.
And it's just the way it is. And it's just a season. None of it's going to last forever. Again, your team is going to eventually, you're going to get to that portion where the ball is rolling, and then it's easier to jump on board. It's real hard to get that thing going. And that's your job. You know, once it's going and now it's easier to kind of get on the bandwagon, that's when the team gets on it. And so it's just one of those things. You just realize this isn't going to last forever. This change will happen. And you just, what's my source each time is, am I relying on me, or am I relying on, again, our faith? Am I relying on those around me to
tell people about that? Yeah.
Cool.
I totally rely on my faith about it. And the thing is, like, there's things along the way that I can do better, you know.
Sure.
I actually talked to my boss today, and he gave me some great tips. Like, one of them is just more intense listening. And I know listening is a specialty of yours. And I know that, you know, that it's one of my focus points of this year as well. And I don't feel like I'm the best listener. And I feel like if I was a better listener, or if I slowed down to collaborate on the XYZ idea more, you know, that could help some. But you're right. Change is going to have some pain. It's not going to solve. There's never going to be a get out of jail free card for making a difference. It's going to cause some disruption, because, I mean, when you move a rock, I mean, you move to dirt, you move, you know, the things under the rock, you move the rock itself, you cause a hole in the earth. I mean, literally any change is going to cause change, and change is uncomfortable. So I have to really be aware of that. Do you have to leave now? Are you done?
Yeah, here in just a second, but I forget which law it is, but we got to remember, and this is a science, but it's every action has that equal and opposite reaction. I mean, we trust and believe that
physics thing,
in physics, and so it's why not the same over here? If we're going to require change, if we're going to push over here, we got to understand that we're going to get pushed back on. I mean, if I came to somebody and said, "Hey, we need to change this," and they were gung-ho about it and didn't have any type of response or anything, I'd be a little concerned. I think when I got done, like, you know,
are they being fake? Are they going to not follow through? They're just telling me what I want to hear.
Were you doing anything?
Right.
You know, is that why it was so easy? You know, I don't know.
That's a really good point. Well, I think this is a great topic to unpack for people who want to make a difference in their business, or grow something for a nonprofit or a business, or grow in the area of sales or business ownership, and just kind of like struggle with us on this podcast. And just kind of walk through what we walk through, so you can feel heard if you're going through it, or you can relate to it because you have been through it, and hear how we fail. And we're going to fail in front of you. And then we'll share we'll give you 2 ideas maybe per podcast, as we, you know, come up with something that worked, or tell you how it worked out, even though we failed, how it worked out in the end. So I hope people can benefit from us. I hope the transparency helped tonight. I'm a little bit uncomfortable about posting this, and I think we should do it and just be transparent, because I feel like it's so important to let our good, our bad, and our lessons shine and help somebody else.
Yeah. So I'm gonna close this out by just repeating that quote from earlier, and it is: growth equals change, change equals loss, loss equals pain, thus growth is equal to pain. Howie, it's been a pleasure, my man. I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much for being such an encourager in business to me and to everybody tonight.
Yeah. I love you, man.
Love you too. Appreciate it.
The message is that seed. The seed doesn't change. The seed is still the seed. The message is still the message. But the people are different, right? So you have to think of people as the type of soil here. And